What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone is having a legendary week. I know it's been a while. Your boy's been on a hiatus, working very, very hard to improve Niner Faithful Radio for Season 5, which will be starting March 17th. Can't wait. As soon as the new league year starts, but we're going to go ahead and, man, a lot of interesting stuff has been happening lately. As we know, John Lynch had pretty much came out and said Jimmy G. Cool will be our starter. I have not been able to find the interview anywhere. If anybody can find the interview, if you could please put the link in the comments of this video, I would greatly appreciate it. I would like to hear my interview because I think just not in football, but in society as well, we tend to clip evaluate, where, you know, we only take like a 15-second clip or maybe a 30-second clip of an hour-long interview and judge a lot of things on that, and we miss some of the context of what that was. And I mean, it pretty much goes to what they've said. Look, if Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, he's going to be our starter. I think that was pretty much the plan all along. Obviously, they did look into Matthew Stafford. I don't care what they said. I mean, I believe that maybe an official offer wasn't made. Maybe they said, hey, look, you know, we're thinking this. If you get better or that ends up being close to what you guys are going to get, you know, let us know and we'll start negotiations. But I don't think that that conversation at the Senior Bowl, I believe the Niners had at least said what they are possibly thinking about starting the negotiations at. I highly doubt they ended that conversation. The Detroit Lions had no clue what the Niners would be willing to give for Matthew Stafford, or at least like start negotiations with. They had to. I'm sorry, you don't even have that conversation. Why would you even have that conversation if part of that conversation isn't, hey, we're thinking about starting the negotiations at this. What would you guys think? You know, or hey, this isn't our official offer, but this is what we're going to start with. If you get better, go ahead and call us and you know, we'll discuss whether we want to go higher or not. And, you know, or maybe they said, hey, look, we won't go higher than this. You know, I don't know exactly how those type of negotiations work, but since I've never been privy to one, but I'm pretty sure that just in normal business negotiations that I do, that's kind of how you have conversations. You kind of just fill each other out and see where each other's at. And, you know, I do believe that the Niners were contacted once the Yams had made an offer and you know, said thanks, but no thanks. I do believe that that's what happened. Of course, it has been out that the Niners had called the Panthers in regards to possibly acquiring Teddy Bridgewater via trade. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's kind of the Niners. I mean, the Niners always do their due diligence. And, you know, I think that it's important to praise them for that. Because if I'm not mistaken, it was John Lynch calling Bill Belichick asking about Jimmy Garoppolo. And then, you know, was told no. And then, you know, said, well, how about Tom Brady? And you know, pretty much was told, get the fuck out of here. I don't think that had nothing to do with Bill Belichick calling Kyle Shanahan when eventually the trade for Jimmy was made. Obviously, Bill Belichick knew the Niners were interested because John Lynch called it and looked around it. Who knows what kind of players are going to be available, you know? And I think that it's going to benefit the Niners to make trades more than, for example, let's just say player X is going to get released and the Niners say, hey, well, we'll trade for him so we don't have to compete with this player on the open market, because we all know our salary cap restrictions. So if we trade for said player and then, you know, sign him to an extension or place a franchise tag on him or whatever those situation might be, I highly doubt we would trade somebody to put the franchise tag on, but, you know, it is a possibility. I think that's, you know, more beneficial to some of these players that the Niners might be able to get a hold of. I know there's quite a few yams that are probably going to be cut that the Niners are going to want to look into because, number one, A, it hurts a division opponent, and B, it would upgrade our team. I don't see too many upgrades available that we can afford. That I would rather have a free agent of our own. I.e., I know there's a couple on Candlestick Chronicles, I believe. They talked about some, or maybe it was Better Rivals. It was Better Rivals. They talked about some possible replacements for K'Waun Williams. And while some of those players are great, and I would love to have them as Niners, I think I would rather have K'Waun. But Matt Mayoko had brought up on 49ers Talk with him and Laura Britt on, I want to say it was this week's episode, they had talked about, or maybe last week, they had talked about how, you're not going to sign K'Waun Williams and Jason Verrett, and Emmanuel Moseley might be the wild card. And if they feel that he can come in and play K'Waun Williams' role, then they sign Jason Verrett. If they don't believe he can come in and fill in for K'Waun, then they're going to sign K'Waun, and then obviously Emmanuel Moseley will be our starting corner. I do believe that we're going to draft corners. We have to. Horn, I want to say Jason Horn, but I know it's not Jason Horn because, but Horn, I know that Horn and Patrick Surtain happen to be the top-rated corners, or at least the corners most linked to the Niners at 12. I'd be down. Matter of fact, I want to draft multiple corners. I think that it is time for us to invest serious capital into the secondary. We cannot. I love Jason Verrett. I want us to sign Jason Verrett. I think Jason Verrett is going to be easier to re-sign than K'Waun because of the Jets, and I think the Jets are going to be able to give K'Waun the type of money that we can't afford to give him, because Robert Saleh is going to want K'Waun badly. And so I believe that Jason Verrett's going to have less competition for his services, just off the fact that there is the injury risk. And I'm also, if Jason Verrett can be healthy and on the field in 2021, he's a Pro Bowl corner, all-pro corner. But that is a serious question mark, and I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable relying on Jason Verrett and not having a plan B as far as a legit starting corner. We have to, it's time. The Niners haven't invested heavy capital, a serious draft pick in a Niner cornerback since Mike Rumph, Ahmad Plummer, who, by the way, I had an Ahmad Plummer jersey. And I think Ahmad Plummer was kind of an underrated Niner a little bit. But it's time. I know that everybody wants to go O-line, and I would throw a hissy fit about O-line. That to me would make a lot of sense. I would be perfectly okay with, drafting a center / guard, especially with the release of Weston Richburg. That's obviously a team need, and a serious team need, and an important position is center in Kyle Shanahan's offense. So I don't think that I would complain. I just have a feeling that unless there's a trade up or a trade back involved, if we're forced to pick at number 12, I'm sorry. I just don't believe that we're going to go O-lineman. I think that we're going to look, at least as far as center is concerned, I think that we're going to look heavy into free agency, and I can see Alex Mack coming here. We all know that Shanahan loves his guys. And so if a reasonable contract can be reached, I mean, he's not going to be top paid center in the league, but if a reasonable contract with, security in case of injury for the Niners, yeah, I'm all for bringing in Alex Mack. Knows the Shanahan system. Is a good player. I think that it'd be a relatively smooth transition. Obviously, has to get working with Lincoln Tomlinson and whoever steps in at right guard. But I think that is something that can be worked out in the offseason, hopefully with on-field OTAs and not just Zoom, because that would obviously cause problems. Offensive line, it's so important for you to have camaraderie and gel and have time gelling with your teammates. It's just somebody who played offensive line at a very low level and not very good, but does know a little bit about offensive line play. It's important to know your teammate, because you know what they struggle with. So on a particular run, maybe they need a little bit more help. If you're a center, maybe the left guard needs a little bit more help on a certain particular run or with a certain particular player. Maybe your left guard or right guard needs a little bit more help with a specific player or a specific play. And those are things that you can learn over time, working together and playing together. And practicing together. And so it's important for us to get on the field time this offseason. COVID be damned. Look, we don't give a damn about COVID. We're trying to take 6, as Eric Davis would say. No more quests, he says. It's time to take number 6. And so that's the new motto. We're going to take 6 this year. They ain't going to give it to us. We got to take that shit. But I think it is very important for us to invest in the secondary. Also, other news, I suggest everybody go listen to 49ers Talk with Matt Mayoko. This week's episode, it also has a really cool interview with Mike McDaniel, our new offensive coordinator, and he talks about his new role and his background. It's not so much about so much coaching per se. It's more about his background and hey, who is this guy who's now our offensive coordinator and has gone with every stop with Kyle Shanahan. But it's still, you hear a nice little cool nuggets about his career and how he got involved with football. And also, it's just nice. It's just a good interview. And, he's not the world's greatest speaker, but it's still nice. And you do learn a little bit of insight into how the Niners' roles are going to work, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And it makes me more assured that Kyle Shanahan is in charge, because a lot of our coaching staff have worked with each other for years. And it's not just, this person's the passing game coordinator, so they only have passing game plays. That kind of is how it is, but everybody contributes and everybody has ideas. So if somebody who's a passing game coordinator says, hey, look, I think this run play would work really good with this pass concept I'm coming up, they take it to the table and they bring it to Kyle Shanahan. And Kyle Shanahan will, either use it or explain why it won't work so that they learn and they can come up with better plays. And so really what he's doing is he's molding all his coaches to become coordinators and head coaches, i.e. like who? Like Bill Walsh. And that is important. That obviously Mike McDaniels is probably not going to be our offensive coordinator. And I think the only reason he got title of offensive coordinator this year is so that teams wouldn't be able to steal him unless they're hiring him for a head coach. And I don't think that he's quite ready to be hired as a head coach yet. But it's just, to me, this interview made me more secure that I'm not saying that they're perfect, but I don't believe that there's a better regime that we could get for the Niners than Lincecum that are available right now. You might make some arguments as far as lateral moves or coaching and GMs that we have that might be as good. But the overall Lincecum, I do believe we could get a better GM than John Lynch. But the regime of Lincecum, I don't feel that the Niners could do better. They could make some neutral moves to stay just as good. But I don't feel that the Niners could get better. I do believe that we're in the right, with the right regime. And I do believe that we will make it to the playoffs this year. I believe that we will compete for the division and we will show our supremacy of the NFC West and show that the Niners are back and we're here to stay for a while. And last year was simply a lot of fluke things coming together at once. we all didn't anticipate. And I think that what we might happen, and let's just say we get Patrick Surtain and he ends up being, the next Richard Sherman. Hey, guess what? When Jimmy G blew out his knee in 2018, guess how many people care what happened in 2018? Nobody. Why? Because it got us a number 2 overall pick and Nick Bosa. Okay? And I do believe that with this pick at number 12, it could turn out to be a possibility where obviously we don't want Nick Bosa blowing out his knee, but in hindsight, and making chicken salad out of chicken shit, maybe it allows us to be number 12 to pick a corner that's a lockdown corner, and we look back 10 years from now when we've won 3 Super Bowls and we say, oh wow, yeah, that Nick Bosa blowing out his knee in 2020, yeah, that sucked, but look what it got us. It got us Patrick Surtain, and he's a lockdown Richard Sherman type corner, Hall of Fame corner. I don't think that people would care that Nick Bosa missed 1 year if it got us a Hall of Fame corner. So obviously we don't want Nick Bosa to blow out his knee this year. Knock on wood. Okay, everybody knock on wood. I'm serious, we don't want that to happen. But if it had to happen last year, I'm just trying to take positives out of it. So I'm super excited. I can't wait till this year's draft to see. I know everybody's thinking quarterback. Dude, we're not going to take a quarterback unless something crazy like, Zach Wilson or a quarterback that Kyle Shanahan absolutely loves falls to maybe pick 7 or 8, and the Niners can get ahead of Carolina, or maybe some other quarterback needy teams. Then maybe you might see the Niners make a move if, the Jags are... I won't even say the Jags are stupid and don't take Trevor Lawrence, because if the Jags don't take Trevor Lawrence, then the Jets or whoever is at number 2, if they happen to trade for Deshaun Watson or whatever, whoever's at number 2 is going to take Trevor Lawrence, which actually would benefit the Niners because Zach Wilson would slide down. But we don't even know if Kyle Shanahan loves Zach Wilson. Kyle Shanahan could not even want any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft. Probably does. But I'd say second, third round is where I would think the Niners will make a quarterback. I do believe we're going to draft a quarterback this year. I guess I misspoke earlier when I said we're not going to draft a quarterback. We're not going to draft a quarterback at 12. Now, second, third, fourth round, could we draft a quarterback? I could see that. Bringing in some competition and upgrading the backup. But also with the signing of Josh Rosen, and maybe you bring back Nick Mullins or CJ Beathard. And then obviously, usually you bring in 4 quarterbacks for training camp. Yeah, I could see the Niners not drafting a quarterback if they signed a free agent, bring back Josh Rosen, and maybe, bring back Nick Mullins or CJ Beathard. Obviously, Nick Mullins has undergone surgery, so it probably will be CJ Beathard, I would think. But, or, maybe they sign an undrafted free agent to come be a camp arm and to compete for a possible backup / third quarterback role. That is a possibility, but I've said it all off season, and I do let your believe it. I have complete, utter, 100% confidence that Jimmy G. Cool is king. Jimmy is king. He'll win us our 6th ring, and on that day, even his haters will sing Jimmy is king. I have full confidence in Jimmy Garoppolo, but his health is a concern. I would be completely total Jimmy G. Cool fanboy if I said that his health wasn't a concern. I do believe any quarterback could have possibly get hurt under that behind that offensive line, i.e., I don't know, Nick Mullins did. But, and I think maybe CJ Beathard wasn't feeling the world's greatest, but maybe Kyle Shanahan was like, yeah, we don't want to see Josh Rosen get out there, Nick, CJ. But, and we all know how tough CJ Beathard is. But we cannot not upgrade the, that was a double negative. We cannot address the backup quarterback position. We cannot just bring back CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins and Jimmy G. Cool and say, yeah, okay, we're fine. No, we have to at least have a contingency plan in case Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt. And I'm not talking about, Andy, no, I mean, we're not going to get like Cam Newton or somebody that's a legit starter, but somebody who at least you could believe that if Jimmy is gone for a couple games can come in and give us a legit shot at winning those games that Jimmy misses. We cannot have this season fall apart because Jimmy Garoppolo got injured again. I'm sorry. And yes, if Jimmy does get hurt significantly this year, yeah, I do believe we do need to move on. But that's a conversation for next offseason. Right now we're focusing on 2021, and I'm going to wear my number 10 jersey the first game of the year. Oh, no. I'm going to wear it the first Seahawks game of the year. I have to wear it for the Seahawks game. But I do believe Jimmy's going to win us the Super Bowl next year. I do believe everybody says, it shouldn't be a Super Bowl or bust mentality. The fuck you mean it shouldn't be a Super Bowl or bust mentality? Fuck you mean? Now I can understand. Let me put an asterisk to that. Trent Williams doesn't sign back. Juice doesn't sign back. Jason Verrett and K1 are gone. KB's gone. And you start to look, Nick Bosa has a setback. Knock on wood. All those type of things happen. Of course, we're not a Super Bowl contender. But if we could have majority of the roster that lined up for Super Bowl 54 on this team, there is no reason that I don't expect the Niners to compete for a Super Bowl. There's no reason. Brandon Ayuk, Debo, KB. I do believe we're going to look into drafting a receiver this year, not with a high pick, but, bringing in some competition. But I do believe that we are a playoff contender. Let's see where we land after free agency to say Super Bowl contender. But if we can re-sign our core free agents, I have no reason to think and, address certain positions of need via free agency or the draft with quality picks. Yeah, I have no reason to believe we can't be a Super Bowl contender. Does that mean we're going to start off 8-0? No, it might take a little bit, for some new parts to gel and everything like that, but that's okay. You don't want to peak in September. You want to peak in December. And so I want my football team to get better as the year goes along. Now, obviously, you want wins while that happens, i.e. like Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay wasn't a great game, but it was okay because we still got the dub and we got better. And so that's how I look for the Niners to be this season. All right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and get a wrap. We're looking to get a very, very extremely special guest co-host on the show. Hopefully next week. I am waiting for an email, a Facebook message back or a Twitter message back. Hopefully that will happen and we will be able to schedule this special guest for next week. Till then, let me see. Yeah, I think, let me see, the second, 9, 16. Yeah, we're going to probably take next week. We'll do a show next week, and then we'll start season 5 will be the 17th, the day of free agency. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners.